Capture the spirit of the holidays like never before with Rockbrook Camera, Nebraska and Western Iowa's premier camera store since 1975. Rockbrook Camera has the latest cameras and lenses, so you can preserve precious memories and learn new photography skills that will last a lifetime. Let the knowledgeable photography pros at Rockbrook Camera show you how to take great pictures of family traditions, the kids' sporting events, and the kids' big holiday musical. Rockbrook Camera is always ready to help with amazing customer support. Join one of their photo classes to learn the best tips and order a beautiful, custom-made gift from their photo lab. Capture the beauty and majesty of winter's snowy landscapes. Be prepared for holiday gatherings and be ready to capture all the family fun. Visit Rockbrook Camera today, 1 block south of 168th and West Center in Omaha, 70th and Pioneers in Lincoln, or online at rockbrookcamera.com. Rockbrook Camera. Great photography begins here.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Welcome to Pretty Lies and Alibis. Join us as we seek the truth and travel the long road to justice. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Pretty Lies and Alibis. I'm Gigi Fruit Loop. It's been a hot minute since we've been on here.
I know, right? And
Yeah.
I'm the floating head.
Yeah.
You can't see my shirt.
It's like that guy, what, Pee-wee's
Mad
Playhouse?
Max.
In
What
the
was it?
Pee-wee's Playhouse, that dude in the box. He was just a head.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking right now.
Wasn't it Mad Max on MTV?
Max Headroom.
Max Headroom, that's it.
Yeah. So did you have a good Thanksgiving? Because I haven't seen you in person in like a month.
Yeah. Yeah, we did. I ate too much. We had like people over here 2 different times. So yeah, we ate. And you always have I have my stretchy pants on, I ain't gonna lie.
Heck yeah.
So we ate and then ate again. So
Yeah, that's how it goes. This Thanksgiving was weird for me because all of a sudden my son's girlfriend is at Thanksgiving. My daughter's boyfriend is at Thanksgiving. And I'm just like, it seems like I should be helping them scoop the mac and cheese still so they don't get burned. But and then today Taylor got her license. So like she's licensed.
Yeah.
And it's so fast. It's just weird how my family's laughing at me because they're like, you're having a really hard time with this, aren't you? And I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, it's part of the progression, but it's happened so fast for my mama heart.
Yeah. Well, I came by your house yesterday.
Yeah.
And Sarah was there, and everybody else was out. So
yeah, that's my life now. So I just want to thank everybody for your positive thoughts and wishes and prayers for my aunt, who is like my mom. We're only 10 years apart and we've always been very close. She's been sick a little while, but we just didn't know how bad.
Yeah.
And she went to the hospital earlier last week and they sent her home. Totally missed it. 2 days later, she's on the verge of death, septic, got holes in her colon, and it's going into the abdomen. So it became a life or death thing. And, it's been a scary few days. She's done better than they thought she would, but there's still some hurdles, but not life threatening at this point. We don't think, but it's been very emotionally exhausting. And,
I don't know why, but sitting at the hospital, you do nothing, but it wears you out.
Yeah, I'm very active with her. So I'm like moving her legs and putting moisturizer on her and trying to keep her comfortable. And she and I work well together. So she lets me do these things. And so I've been helping her husband during the day and the evening. So I had to come home and kind of throw this big filing together because I haven't kept up with much. But after this episode, we're going to do a quick update on Josh Duggar. His trial starts tomorrow. Jury selection starts. So there's a few things, but we're not going to attach it to this.
Yep.
So, but I tell you, this has taught me, it's weird. You get these random reminders you don't want to get that life is so fragile, and in a second it can just change. And I thought about the cases we cover and the families, that it's hard when you see a family member sick from something that just came in their body. And then I just thought of all these families that are feeling this terrible dread with missing kids, or feeling a loss of a loved one, which she's fine, but for a day or so we thought we might lose her. And it really just was another reminder for me to treasure my family and my loved ones. And it's we're a tribe, and that, and Angie, and you love her, and she loves you like a niece. I mean, you're her bonus niece. So anyways, we're going to get started with this. So we want to thank our sponsor, Two Cool T-shirt Quilts. If you look behind me, you can see part of the quilt. The two pillows there are in the ICU. I'm using one, and my aunt's going to use one because they're just perfect. So I don't have them on display, but you guys have seen them. Clemson beat the Gamecocks.
Boo.
Whoop, whoop. That girl had just come out of surgery, and she was intubated. And I said, Angie, we beat the Gamecocks. And she tried so hard to lift that thumb. So anyways, okay, so the state has responded to all this stuff with Mark Means. And I'm just going to say, you poked the bear a few times, and okay, the bear's mad now. I think Rob Wood, Lindsay Blake, rightfully so, have had their belly full. So let's get into it. All right. It says, while it is customary to refer to the defendant and their attorney as the defense, it would be inappropriate in this response to do so. The defendant, Lori Vallow Daybell, is currently deemed incompetent, and a stay exists in her case. She is also co-represented by death penalty qualified counsel Jim Archibald. It is of note that Mr. Archibald did not sign this filing, and it appears Mr. Means acted unilaterally in preparing and filing this motion. There is no affidavit from Lori Vallow Daybell to support such allegations. Where the defendant is deemed incompetent and cannot consent to such a filing, where the defendant has made no verified assertions to support such motion, and where Mr. Archibald did not sign said motion, it is appropriate to consider Mr. Means' filing for clarity rather than as an actual filing of the entire defense team.
Mic drop, walk away.
Shots fired. This is the lead up to the Let's Take Marky to School episode. Yeah. So the state essentially gives Means a lesson on Brady material. And they say it's when the state is in possession of material or evidence that could prove the defendant's innocence or negates the guilt of a person charged with a crime. The state says the request by Means to turn over Brady violation disclosures regarding the comments made by Lori to Daniel McConkey. They call this request misplaced. The declared motion appears to create the label, and it's in quotes, Brady violation disclosure or so named item. Yet the motion fails to define the item and to supply a legal basis for such legal characterization. The state said there's no authority for such an argument or legal conclusion. Statements made by Lori to a third party are not associated with the state, are not in possession of the state, and are in no way Brady material as defined by the U.S. Supreme Court. So he's saying your client's talking and you blaming me.
Yeah, you keep a handle on your client.
Exactly. So it says further, while the prosecution does have a duty to turn over statements of the defendants in its possessions, such statements cannot be Brady material if they are already known to the defendant.
Booyah. Checkmate, Mark Means.
Check, please.
Yeah. Incriminating statements made by the defendant to third parties are not per se Brady material. The state is not in possession of those statements other than what the state disclosed to the defense counsel and the court. Further, those statements were not made to a state actor, such as the police or the prosecution. The state calls the request for Brady violation disclosures a misinterpretation of the legal definition and concepts underpinning Brady material. Based on the rest of the motion, the most charitable interpretation of what the declared motion requests is for the state to produce any statements made by Lori to Daniel McConkey, which are self-incriminating. The state does not have in its own possession or control of any such statements. The state has already disclosed any statements made by Lori within its possession or control.
The most charitable. I mean, that is a nice way of saying you moron.
Yeah. Dum-dum. So Mr. Means can obtain the statements he is referring to by simply asking his client what statement she made. I think that's huge.
That's true.
Ask her. Yeah, ask her what she said.
What'd you say, girl?
What'd you say?
Up.
Yeah.
Oh, it gets better.
It says McConkey was willing to speak with co-counsel Archibald. The state says Means' apparent attempt to significantly extend the legal concept of Brady material to cover potentially incriminating statements made by Lori to an independent third party are not in possession of the state is unsupported by law. The state says the public manner in which Means requests this outline material is concerning, as it appears he intends to publicize statements he believes were made by his client. It says Lori is incompetent and can't consent to her private statements being made public. It goes on to say if Lori made incriminating statements, it is alarming that Means is objecting to this matter being sealed.
It makes sense, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still say he's mad because they were trying to get him another attorney.
Oh, girl, it gets better. I was tired and I was so uninspired to read this after my day. And then the further down I got, it was like, I'm going to go pop the popcorn and get ready for this. So it says the potential harm for Vallow Daybell from publicizing such statements is high and could be extremely harmful to Mr. Means' former client, Chad Daybell, a co-defendant and alleged co-conspirator. They say it is noteworthy that Archibald has not joined in this motion. The second matter that they go through, the declared motion for criminal depositions and out-of-state subpoenas is not supported by law or fact. The state says Idaho Criminal Rule 15 exists to preserve material testimony, not to use it as a discovery tool. So they give the example if you have a witness who has a terminal illness who may not make it to trial, that would accommodate an out-of-state subpoena or something like that, but not because Means is throwing a hissy fit.
Yeah.
So the declared motion fails to provide any factual basis whatsoever to suggest that any of the individuals listed are witnesses in this case in any capacity. It also fails to provide any factual basis as to why any of their testimony would be material and how depositions would be necessary to prevent a failure of justice. Even if any of the individuals or organizations listed were witnesses, the motion makes no showing whatsoever of their unavailability for trial. So the request in the motion for out-of-state subpoena is procedurally defective. A court in Idaho cannot simply grant an out-of-state subpoena. If Mr. Means wants to serve a subpoena in another state, he must first acquire a subpoena signed by the clerk of court and then domesticate said subpoena in whichever state he wishes to have it served. The laws in Idaho are clear on the manner in which to obtain processes enforceable in other states. The request in the motion fails to follow Idaho. Idaho. Man. I need some speed. Motion to disqualify. Okay, the third thing. Motion to disqualify the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare. Let's just kick the whole department out. The state said the request is baseless and not supported by the law. They say she was deemed incompetent and committed to the custody of that department at the request of and on a prior motion of Mark Means. They include the law for incompetent defendants. So they just laid out the basic legal definition about incompetency. So nothing in Idaho code provides for a disqualification of the Department of Health and Welfare, nor an alternated method of restoring competency. They say there's no power of the courts to commit a person found unfit to proceed to any other facility.
Okay, here's my deal. If she's in this facility and she's receiving treatment and her therapist, they're talking, and obviously we know they were watching the trial. If she were to say to her, I need a new attorney, I mean, if the therapist said, well, go through the proper channels and try to get, I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
he's
it's like
making it.
you could understand if they sit down with this person and say, you can't discuss her case. You can't give her any legal advice. That's not
Sure.
even legal advice. That's just saying,
No.
here's a phone book, find somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
None of the legal people that I've watched about it seem concerned at all.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it was
No.
just another one of his hissy fit filings.
He's mad.
Yeah.
He's mad. So the declared motions, unverified, unsubstantiated assertions.
Yeah, we having an English lesson, y'all.
Like, y'all know
Mark
how.
Day's having a legal lesson with this too.
Right. At least, did he misspell anything?
Oh yeah, it was all red.
Yeah. Fail to state a cause that necessitates the court's intervention in the daily psychiatric, medical, and mental health treatment of a person in the custody of the Department of Health and Welfare. Even if true, none of the allegations rise to the level of mistreatment or inappropriate conduct on the part of the Department of Health and Welfare. Like, it's therapy.
Yeah.
He can't control what a therapist deems a therapist. He's not a therapist.
Exactly.
He's not even a good attorney, so I don't know why he's trying to be a therapist. They say unsubstantiated claims don't support the court taking the drastic and legally questionable action of disqualifying an entire agency. How can you say, I want the whole agency just gone?
Right.
The
You've
court
been
is
disbanded.
Yeah. This is going to show my age, but you remember the Gong Show? Where they had the metal thing and somebody would get up and perform and they would hit the gong, hit the thing.
Yeah.
You're out. Yeah.
Gong means.
He done got gonged 20 million times. So the court does not have the authority to micromanage the daily treatment of Miss Valo Daybell. I totally agree with that. The court's concern is the legal status of a defendant, not on managing complaints about individual staff performance. They go on to say if Lori or Means has a grievance about a staff member to take it up with the institution, and there's no proof the facility has disqualified itself. The novel argument that the alleged actions of one staff member somehow reflect an entire multi-facility statewide department is without merit or legal authority, which I totally agree.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from the fact that the motion to disqualify the Idaho Department of Health and Welfare has no basis in law, even if Means could prove the allegations made against the staff member, disqualifying the department is drastic and unreasonable. Mr. Means' unverified, unsupported factual allegations consist of hearsay, highly suspect information, and pure speculation cannot be proven without the testimony and cross-examination of Lori Valo Daybell. It's true.
It's very true.
I mean, obviously she was the only one there. There's another question I have, though. Normally they record that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So normally, a therapist session.
That's true. That's true.
So I don't know if that would come into play or not, or violate her, whatever.
Yeah.
The motion contains several false statements. There's no evidence to support the assertion that Mr. Wood has ever met, let alone spoken with Daniel McConkey. Another attorney at the law firm, Curtin McConkey, contacted Rob Wood to tell him Lori had contacted McConkey. The conversation lasted approximately 1 minute, and Mr. Wood said he would contact the defendant's public defender. Mr. Wood immediately contacted the defendant's court-appointed counsel and informed him of the information provided.
Court-appointed. He didn't call Means. He called Archibald.
Yeah. Yep.
So Rob Wood also informed the court and defense counsel at a hearing shortly thereafter. The state is unaware of any authority creating a duty for attorneys at Curtin McConkey to provide this information to anyone. Further, the state is unaware of any legal or ethical duty that the state has to provide the information to the defense. However, it was provided to both the court and defense counsel as a professional courtesy and out of an abundance of caution. So again, you see Rob Wood is saying, maybe I don't have to do this, but I'm going to cover my booty and do it.
Exactly. I don't want to mess up. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We've been down this road where Means does this stuff.
Yeah. Same day, different stuff this time.
Yep.
The apparent lack of due diligence in filing this motion is egregious and possibly merits sanctions by the court against Mark Means. So now it's getting dirty. Pew, pew, shots fired. Pew, 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 pew. They say instead of exercising due diligence required by the rules of professional conduct, counsel simply makes speculative and extreme allegations in the motion. For example, Mr. Means appears to claim the court itself is under the, quote, complete control of the LDS Church. Another example is the harsh and unsubstantiated allegations of unethical and possible illegal activities by Mr. McConkey, even though Mr. McConkey was willing to and did speak to Jim Archibald. Means could have called McConkey himself before making such allegations. Means extreme ethical accusations have now created a situation where Mr. McConkey is not willing to speak with Mr. Means due to the statements that he made. McConkey has been willing to speak with the defense counsel, but now may not be able to do so. They say Means may have limited his own ability to obtain the information he is allegedly seeking in his motion.
Dumb.
It goes on to say that Means didn't even speak to the clinician or her supervisors before filing this motion to disqualify. Here's what I like to read. Mr. Means has crossed the line of zealous advocacy and has entered into an arena of rank accusation. Made accusations against private individuals, statements about a clinician which could threaten her job, and about an out-of-state attorney who did nothing wrong and is now accused of taking actions to manipulate the defendant to be forced and manipulated into making statements against her interest.
Yeah, that's the deal. If it did happen, why not call and talk to the facility and say, I need to know what was said? But no,
whatever any kind of surveillance you've got or whatever. He
recorded it. Let me hear what she said, et cetera, et cetera. But he's wasting, this is wasting the court's time and money, right?
Yeah. Because you notice he didn't shoot this out the next day. He really thought about and picked apart those motions to show that they're crap.
Yeah. So the state calls the representations and allegations about the clinician and Lori are suspect and should be treated as such. They say he doesn't provide a source for this information. Unless he can produce a witness to verify a story, it's inadmissible hearsay.
Yeah. So if Lori provided this story to her attorney, it should be discounted due to the reasons for which she has been committed. And I thought that was such a direct statement. In other words, you can't trust what she's saying. She's committed.
Exactly. She's not fit for trial.
No.
Come on.
So further, if the facts alleged by Mr. Means came from his client, he has placed his client in a situation by publishing her statements in violation of her constitutional rights and contrary to Rule 1.6 of the Idaho Rules of Professional Conduct. The state specifically asked the court to take notice that the declared motion was signed by Mr. Means under penalty of perjury. He signed pursuant to the words that I certify or declare under penalty of perjury, pursuant to the law of the state of Idaho, that the foregoing is true and correct. There is no requirements he swear to the contents of the motion. He chose to verify the contents of the motion with his name and signature of this on his own accord. Mr. Means is the sole witness to the accusations. Mr. Means' continued representation of the defendant is inappropriate and unethical, and there we have it, right there. I think you're going to try to get him booted. Mr. Means has an unwaivable and unethical conflict of interest due to his past dual representation of both Lori and Chad. Means' continued involvement in this case is inappropriate and creates issues for an appeal. An inquiry into this conflict must be held in this case, and a knowing and intelligent waiver of conflict on the part of the defendant must be made in order for Mr. Means to ethically represent Lori. However, an inquiry and waiver cannot occur due to the defendant's restoration commitment and related stay of the case.
We've said early on that he needed to step aside.
Yeah, because the way he does stuff on Twitter, you got the biggest trial coming up this country's seen in quite a while. I mean, there's some big ones, but this is a big trial.
Yeah.
And you're posting GIFs on Twitter, and you're posting rats fleeing a ship and sweeping stuff under the rug. It's so bizarre.
Yeah. You can't do that.
No.
Like, I wouldn't want to. If I was an attorney, I wouldn't want to be out like that.
No, you keep your nose down in the work and you don't tell the public what you're thinking.
Yeah. You act like Rob would, basically.
Right.
You don't on social media. Yeah.
Take a little time, think up a well thought out, good response to that, and not, that motion was all over the place he filed.
Yeah.
All right.
And it would be different if he was on social media talking about a separate case that he doesn't have any kind of involvement with.
Yeah.
But when this is your case, this is your client, and you do stuff like that, it just, I don't know.
And to me, you're talking about I think a couple of these little posts have been aimed towards people who are witnesses in this case.
Yeah.
Like you've got a lawyer trying to intimidate a witness. That sounds like that's a big no-no to me.
Exactly.
I don't know. I think something may come from this. I'm not even going to kid you.
Yeah. So further, any waiver, even if knowing and intelligent, should be rejected by the court. An incompetent defendant should not be presumed to have waived the constitutional right to conflict-free counsel, especially when said counsel appears willing to publicize private statements of the defendant. At a minimum, Mr. Means should be precluded from filing any other documents in this case that are unsigned by his co-counsel until such time as the court can engage in an inquiry with the defendant regarding the conflict of interest. The declared motion should be denied without hearing as a matter of law. The law does not provide the court authority or jurisdiction to award any remedy requested in the declared motion. They're asking for Means to be sanctioned by the court, ordering all motions filed on behalf of Lori be signed by a co-counsel until she is deemed competent and by any other remedies and sanctions the court deems appropriate.
Boom.
Yeah.
This
all is, I don't know. This went to his head. I don't know what it is.
The what?
This is all done went to his head.
I mean, look, I don't think he wanted to be intimately involved in her care. And that's not what lawyers do when their client's incompetent and have been committed. You do you in the law office. You don't get to hang out with the defendant in the mental ward unless I'm missing something. I think he's got an obsession or something. It's weird. Yeah. That's suspicious.
So let's finish up here.
Yeah, because that was the end of it.
Yeah.
That was the end of that. So we're going to come right back out and get this quick Duggar update. We will do Murdoch later in the week. I've still got some stuff to go through. I'm taking my laptop to the hospital tomorrow so I can do a little research and keep up with this trial. But so it's going to be really short. After this one, we'll do another one. Just Duggar, and then we'll be back at you tomorrow with day one. We'll find out what happens day one. It's I think it's picking the jury.
Okay.
But I'm curious to see the dynamics of that. So, okay, guys, we will see you shortly. Have a good rest of your evening.
Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry, we were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right, ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details. Okay, round two. Name something that's not boring.
A laundry? Ooh, a book club. Computer solitaire, huh?
Ah, sorry. We were looking for Chumba Casino. That's right. ChumbaCasino.com has over 100 casino-style games. Join today and play for free for your chance to redeem some serious prizes. ChumbaCasino.com. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus terms and conditions apply. See website for details.